Hey everyone, today we're going to talk a little bit about chameleon care when it comes to living in Colorado or really any desert or dry climate. Now, first of all, I want to say with continuing with the theme of me being open and transparent, and I know, buddy, I know, I'm sorry, he's a little grumpy at me. He just ate a little bit ago, but I don't have a whole lot of time to shoot a whole lot of videos, so he's going to kind of pout a little bit, but he's okay, I promise, guys. I shot one previously a few months ago about doing chameleon care in Colorado, basically the same video, but I absolutely misspoke. I screwed up, you guys. I sat there and said that veiled chameleons are from Madagascar. Absolutely not true. They're from an entirely other part of the world. I will make an actual species spotlight about veiled chameleons, but someone in the comments did call me out on it. They weren't rude. They were very nice about it. And I admitted it, I corrected it, but you know what? I'd rather just take down the video, put up a new one with the correct information, so I don't want to have any sort of thing saying that, I'm perpetuating bad information, which is why I started this channel in the first place. So, moving forward, chameleon care in, arid climates. Chameleons are a wonderfully beautiful, amazing reptile species to keep. That being said, they are very difficult. They're definitely an advanced level keeping type of animal. There are a number of individual chameleon species that come from different parts of the world. These guys come from Yemen and the southern tip of Saudi Arabia. A lot of them come from Madagascar. Some come from Africa and a couple other individual islands, and I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to talk about kind of just basic chameleon care in general, because veileds are honestly an entirely other thing. I just have two veiled, so that's what I'm going to use as my example. So these guys, they come from very tropical climates, including the veileds. You wouldn't believe it thinking, Saudi Arabia and Yemen, but they're actually in a fairly tropical forest. That means that they are exclusively arboreal. So that means they live in the trees, they're up there all the time. For the most part, most chameleon species spend almost their entire lives in trees, up off the ground, except for when it comes to finding mates and laying eggs. For the most part. Not going to do a complete blanket statement. I know, buddy. I know you're mad at me. I'm sorry. He's not really happy about this, guys. I'm really sorry about that. We'll put him away if he's not feeling up for this. But, so because of that, a lot of the commercial cages that we have for chameleons are those tall, screened arboreal cages, which is nice because they're tall, but maintaining humidity in an open air screen cage, as we all know, for keeping ball pythons or tropical snakes in aquariums, isn't necessarily the best idea, or it's not very ideal for keeping humidity. If you have a little one, you can kind of keep them in like the closed off Exoterra, because that does still provide a little bit, but an adult panther, Mellors, obviously Mellors, those guys get huge, veiled chameleons, something like that, need a lot bigger of things, so you need those very tall screen cages. And honestly, even like the tallest of like the regular Reptibrees or ones might even be a little small for a big veiled male. But you can use those things because they need that open air. These guys are very sensitive to respiratory infections. And respiratory infections are usually usually occur when you have stagnant, still air with excess humidity with a lot of bacteria in it. So they need really nice open air, but they need a high humidity. So the way we do it in jzsreptiles isn't necessarily the easiest way or the only way to do so. So what we do is we actually have a room that we keep constantly between 50 and 60 degrees, 60% humidity. At night, I'll throw on a humidifier and crank it up to like 70 overnight when it cools down a little bit. But for the most part, that's where it stays. It stays kind of around room temperature, and the animals that need a little bit higher a basking spot, like these guys still need a bit of a warm spot, I threw a ceramic heat emitter on top. So not only do you get a nice humidity in there, we also have a dripper. We've used a fogger. What we do is we have a little drip system that drips down past all the foliage and branches that they have, and it collects in like a little cup that bamboo is sitting on the bottom of the cage. So that way they're drinking that, because a lot of chameleons won't actually drink from standing water. They want to eat it off the leaves and stuff. Veileds will actually even eat plants. They're an omnivorous chameleon species, which is why I said veileds are a whole other thing. But they want to drink water from, moving water off of foliage and stuff like that. And you are just picking the weird, he's finally calming down, guys. He's chilling out a little bit. He's just picked a very weird way of, just kind of hanging on to me. So sorry, I'm not doing anything to him. He's choosing to sit like this. He can move if he wants to. So a lot of people use a fogger, which you just like it sits on top of a little cage and it produces fog, and it will collect dew and stuff on the foliage on the branches, and they'll lick that off. A lot of people use the dripper, like I said. They'll use a misting system, and you can spray that a couple times a day too. I would absolutely recommend that in general if your humidity is a little low. So you'll have your fogger, your dripper, even a misting system, but I would just have, you know, a nice dechlorinated bit of water in a spray bottle and spray that down a couple times a day. In addition to that, they will also get a fair bit of the water they need from their prey items. And so when it comes to any animal that eats really anything, varied diets are good. Snakes are a little bit of an exception, but even then, I did a video about feeding snakes. You can watch it right here. You can, you know, they usually end up eating just kind of one thing, but we're even starting to see a little bit of a change in that, how things are going. But varied diets are very important for these guys. And there are a wide variety of things you can feed them. Dubia roaches, Madagascar-hissing cockroaches, crickets, mealworms, waxworms, hornworms, all sorts of fun things. Always remember to dust with calcium and vitamin supplements. Chameleons actually can be harmful to have too much vitamin D3, which is necessary for all reptiles to kind of metabolize everything, but these guys can actually have too much. So I would recommend, if you're dusting the stuff, if you have a nice UVB bulb, which you have to have for these guys, they need UVB, make sure that you're changing it out every 6 months for that 12-hour day-night cycle. A nice little fun thing that you can do is, like, on the base of it, you can write expired date on there. That way you can keep track. Because just because the bulb's going doesn't mean it's still emitting UVB. But I would recommend you get like a vitamin powder with D3 and then a calcium without D3. It says it right there on the label. It's very easy. Follow the instructions when it comes to dusting. Maybe every other meal, dust them with calcium and vitamin, and you're good to go. Basically, the big thing about these guys is they are a little bit harder to keep. You can't keep them like we keep a bearded dragon or a leopard gecko. It is a little bit more complicated, and I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about them. I misspoke and said the whole thing, which is why we're reshooting this video right now. So just try to maintain the best humidity you can. Keep that misting system. Yeah, the biggest thing is you need to just kind of keep them moist but not dripping wet. So what I would recommend, if you don't have a room that you can keep at a nice humidity, you know, have your misting system, have a fogger that you do, spray them down 2 or 3 times, like in the morning, you know, when you turn on the lights, nice, spray down all of the foliages and branches, and give them plenty of places to hide and climb and stuff, you know, 3 or 4 individual fake plants, put a nice big leafy, bushy, stemmy, live plant or 2, lots of climbing branches, plenty of places for them to hide and feel secure. And then that's perfect 100% of the way. And it's actually fun to sit there and watch them hunt the kind of crawly bugs like roaches and crickets and stuff. And so that gives them a little something to do while they're in their cage as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm going to do a one about veiled chameleons in particular because they're so weird. This is just tips to try to hopefully maintain humidity in a drier climate. So whether you live in a place like Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, or maybe you live in a cold climate where you have to have the heater on a lot, which dries out the air. So, you know, if you're in Minnesota or in Alaska, you know, they have reptiles there too. They're just popular pets there as well. Maybe not as many because there's not as many people, but when your heater goes, it dries out the air. So if you're living in a place with dry climate, just make sure you maintain that humidity, but don't box them in. You can't, even if you had a nice big glass Exoterra, that will actually still the air to where you could risk possible, you know, respiratory infections with these guys. Hopefully you got something from this video. Once again, I do my best to make sure I catch all the things that I misspeak. If I do misspeak, I will please let me know down in the comments. I will do my best to be better about editing these things. I hate listening to myself talk. It's not great for me, which is why I have someone help me edit these videos. But they don't know quite as much about reptiles or animals in general as I do, so they will miss stuff. And because I'm not paying attention as closely as I should be, I miss stuff too. So I will be much more vigilant about this from now on. And I hope you guys are still enjoying these videos. That other video that I posted a while ago, I am going to take down. I don't want to spread misinformation. While the care information was basically the same, I'm not going to have at the very beginning because I threw it up at the beginning, and it basically just takes away all the credibility of everything I say after that. And that's not something that we want. We want good founded sources of information, not my way or the highway. I'm not the only one, but good solid information. And that little bit of me misspeaking and not taking it down or addressing it, it's not good, and I don't want to do that. So that one's going to go away. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Please let me know if you enjoy this. If you have any questions, a couple people have asked me about their chameleons in general here in Colorado. Let me know down in the comments. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, jzsreptiles. Hope you're having a great day, and I'll catch you next time.